Namaskar. Well, friends, I heartily welcome you all to Bhim Bhashya, my audio video podcast series on Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. This audio video podcast series has 54 short speeches on Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, unraveling as many as 25 different dimensions of this multifaceted genius. Friends, this podcast series is focused on Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, his thoughts, his actions, his philosophy, and above all, the grand vision that he had seen for India as a nation. This is what this podcast series is all about. So let's proceed. Well, friends, let's continue our discussion regarding Dr. Ambedkar as a great warrior against the caste system. Specifically in this episode 25, I'm going to present Dr. Ambedkar's celebrated book. The title was Annihilation of Caste. Let me explain the political backdrop, which is very interesting. The year was 1936. A social organization in Lahore was in India at that time, named Jat Paat Todak Mandal. They invited Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar to chair their annual conference. Dr. Ambedkar reluctantly accepted the invitation, and he was going to speak about eradication of caste or annihilation of caste. Dr. Ambedkar prepared the draft. There were lots of small problems of communication between the organizers and Dr. Ambedkar. However, at one point, the organizers requested him to provide them a printed copy, a final copy, so that they could get it printed and circulate it ahead of time. Dr. Ambedkar did provide the copy that he had finalized. When the organizers read the draft or final version of the speech, they started shivering. They were doing good work, little bit here, little bit there, but such overhaul, such fundamental change that Dr. Ambedkar had suggested they found it unpalatable. So they wrote to Dr. Ambedkar saying that, Dr. Ambedkar, your speech is good, but please delete this part, please dilute this part, and so on. Dr. Ambedkar told them he was what he was. So he told them, I'm not going to change a single word. Take it or leave it. Even if you want to cancel the conference, I'm okay with that. But I shall not change a single word. And that is what happened. The conference was cancelled, and that particular draft speech, which was not delivered, Dr. Ambedkar published it as a book. And with that, he attached all the correspondence between him and the organizers so that the readers would have a complete view. That written but undelivered speech turned out into a book called Annihilation of Caste. And frankly, this is one of the best books that Dr. Ambedkar has written. Dr. Ambedkar, a great scholar, in his lifetime, he wrote 22. He completed 22 scholarly books. And there were 10 books which were left incomplete at various stages. Of these 22 completed books, I would rate Annihilation of Caste among the top 2. This is a brilliant piece of work, and it is a big challenge to present that in a nutshell form. Let me make an attempt to present to you in a nutshell form. I'm going to read the speech from the original, but not the entire speech, but excerpts, certain parts I'm going to read out. Here it goes, and I quote Dr. Ambedkar. It is a pity that caste, even today, has its defenders. It is defended on the ground that the caste system is but another name for division of labor. And if division of labor is a necessary feature of every civilized society, then it is argued that there is nothing wrong in the caste system. Now, the first thing is to be urged against this view is that caste system is not merely division of labor. It is also a division of laborers. Civilized society undoubtedly needs division of labor, but in no civilized society is division of labor accompanied by this unnatural division of laborers into watertight compartments. Caste system is not merely a division of laborers, it is an hierarchy in which the divisions of laborers are graded one above the other. In no other country is the division of labor accompanied by this gradation of laborers. This division of labor is not spontaneous, nor it is based on natural aptitudes. Social and individual efficiency requires us to develop the capacity of an individual to the point of competency to choose and make his own career. This principle is violated in the caste system insofar as it involves an attempt to appoint tasks to individuals in advance, selected not on the basis of trained or original capacities, but on that of the social status of his parents. The division of labor brought about by the caste system is not a division based on choice, individual sentiment, individual preference has no place in it. It is based on the dogma of predestination. As an economic organization, caste is therefore a harmful institution inasmuch as it involves the subordination of man's natural powers and inclinations to the exigencies of social rules. Some have dug a biological trench in defense of the caste system. It is said that the object of caste was to preserve the purity of race and purity of blood. The caste system cannot be said to have grown as a means of preventing the admixture of races or as a means of maintaining purity of blood. As a matter of fact, caste system came into existence long before the different races in India had commingled in blood and in culture. The caste system does not demarcate racial division. Caste system is a social division of people of the same race. Dr. Ambedkar adds, caste does not result in economic efficiency. Caste cannot improve and has not improved the race. Caste has, however, done one thing. It has completely disorganized and demoralized the Hindus. Hindu society is only a collection of castes. Each caste is conscious of its existence. Its survival is the be all and end all of all its existence. Castes do not even form a federation. A caste has no feeling that it is affiliated to other castes, except when there is a Hindu-Muslim riot. On all other occasions, each caste endeavors to segregate itself, to distinguish itself from the other caste. There is utter lack among the Hindus of what the sociologists call consciousness of kind. The caste prevents common activity. And by preventing common activity, it has prevented Hindus from becoming a society with a unified life and a consciousness of its own being. The effect of caste on the ethics of Hindus is simply deplorable. Caste has killed the public spirit. Caste has destroyed the sense of public charity. Caste has made public opinion impossible. A Hindu's public is his caste. His responsibility is only to his caste. His loyalty is restricted only to his caste. Virtue has become caste-ridden and morality has become caste-bound. There is no sympathy for the deserving. There is sympathy, but not for men of other castes. There is charity to the needy, but it begins with the caste and ends with the caste. The capacity to appreciate merits in a man apart from his caste does not exist in a Hindu. My caste man, right or wrong, my caste man, good or bad. It is not the case of standing by the virtue and not standing by voice. It is the case of standing or not standing by the caste. What is your ideal of the society if you do not want caste is a question that is bound to be asked. If you ask me, my answer is my ideal would be society based on liberty, equality, and fraternity. The only question that remains to be considered is how to bring about reform of the Hindu social order. How to abolish caste? This is a question of supreme importance. There is a view that in the reform of caste, the first step to take is to abolish subcaste. This view is based upon the supposition that there is a greater similarity in manners and status between subcaste. I think this is an erroneous supposition. Assuming that the fusion of subcaste is possible, what is the guarantee? What guarantee is there that the abolition of subcaste will necessarily lead to the abolition of castes? Another plan of action for the abolition of caste is to begin with inter-caste diners. This is also, in my opinion, an inadequate remedy. I am convinced that the real remedy is inter-caste marriage. Fusion of blood can alone create a feeling of being kith and kin. And unless this feeling of kinship, of being kindred, becomes paramount, the separatist feeling, the feeling of being aliens, created by the caste, will not vanish. The real remedy for breaking caste is inter-caste marriage. Nothing else will serve as a solvent of caste. Interdining and inter-caste marriage are repugnant to the beliefs and dogmas which the Hindus regard as sacred. Caste may be bad. Caste may lead to conduct so gross as to be called man's inhumanity to man. All the same, it must be recognized that the Hindus observe caste not because they are inhuman or wrong headed. They observe caste because they are deeply religious. What is wrong is their religion, which has inculcated this notion of caste. Obviously, the enemy to grapple with is not the people who observe caste, but the Shastras, which teach them this religion of caste. Occasionally, holding intercaste dinners and celebrating intercaste marriages is a futile method of achieving the desired end. The real remedy, Dr. Ambedkar said, is to destroy the belief in the sanctity of Shastra. You must take the stand that Buddha took. You must take the stand that Guru Nanak took. You must not only discard the Shastras, you must deny their authority, as did Buddha, as did Guru Nanak. The Hindus hold to the sacredness of the social order. Caste has a divine basis. You must therefore destroy the sacredness and the divinity with which caste has become invested. In the last analysis, this means you must destroy the authority of Shastras and the Vedas. The Brahmins form the intellectual class of the Hindus. It is not only the intellectual class, but it is also a class which is held in great reverence by the rest of the Hindus. When such an individual class, which holds the rest of the community in its grip, is opposed to reform the caste, the chances of success in a movement for breakup of the caste system appear to me very, very remote. The reason why I say the task is impossible will be clear if you will bear in mind that the caste system has two aspects. In one of its aspects, it divides men into separate communities. In the second aspect, it places these communities in a graded order, one above the other, in social status. Each caste takes its pride and its consolation is in the fact that in the scale of caste, it is above some other caste. As an outward mark of this gradation, there is also a gradation of social and religious rights, technically spoken as ashtadhikars and the samskars. The higher the grade of a caste, the greater the number of these rights, and the lower the grade, the lesser the number of such rights. All are slaves of the caste system, but all the slaves are not equal. Castes form a graded system of sovereignties, high and low, which are jealous of their status and which know that if a general dissolution came, some of them stand to lose more of their prestige and power than others do. You cannot therefore have a general mobilization of Hindus for an attack on the caste system. You must not forget that if you wish to bring about a breach in the system, then you have got to apply dynamite to the Vedas and Shastras, which deny any part to morality. You must destroy the religion of Shrutis and Smrutis. Nothing else will avail. This is my considered view in the matter. Well, friends, I have given you some excerpts from this brilliant book, but The choice is subjective, and I'm sure many very valuable parts are missed out. In any case, I certainly hope that the central message of the book is reaching you. Well, friends, we can conclude this session here. But before I leave, let me request you yet again, if you like this audio video podcast series, please like it, please share it, and please subscribe to it. So long until we meet again real soon. Thank you. Namaskar.